A long time ago, in the ancient city of Babylon, there lived a man named Arkad. He was known for his generosity. He donated money freely and spent lavishly. Yet, despite his expenses, his wealth kept increasing, so much so that he couldn't even spend it all. One day, some of his old friends met him. They were surprised and troubled, and they started asking Arkad, "How are you so fortunate? Today, you are the richest man in Babylon, while we struggle to earn even 2 meals a day. You wear the finest clothes, eat the best food, while we can only afford simple clothing and basic meals. But there was a time when we were all the same. We studied under the same teacher, played the same games. Back then, you were not better than us, nor did you have any extra skills. We worked just as hard as you did. So tell us, Arkad, why did fate favor only you and not us?" Hearing this, Arkad smiled and said, "My friends, I will surely tell you. The reason is simple. You have not learned the true rules of wealth creation, or perhaps you have forgotten them. So I will teach you these principles by sharing my own story. This all started when I was young. I looked around and saw the good things in life and realized that wealth is essential to enjoy them. Wealth gives power. So I decided that I would claim my share of these good things. I began by working as a scribe, engraving writings on clay tablets. I worked hard for months, but I didn't see any profits. My earnings would be spent on food, clothes, and other necessities. One day, a moneylender named Algamish came to me. He asked me to complete an engraving task on clay tablets and promised to pay me 2 extra copper coins if I finished it in 2 days. I was excited and I worked tirelessly. However, when Algamish returned in 2 days, I had not completed the work. He was very angry. Gathering my courage, I asked him, "Algamish, you are a very wealthy man. Please tell me how I can become rich. I promise to complete your work by tomorrow without any payment in return." Algamish laughed and said, "I like your determination. Finish my work, and tomorrow I will tell you the secrets of wealth." I worked all night and completed the tablets. The next day, when Algamish arrived, I handed over his work and asked him to share his wisdom. Algamish said, "Listen carefully, Arkad. I became rich when I decided that a portion of my earnings must always be kept for myself. How much of your earnings do you keep for yourself?" I was confused and asked, "That's all?" He smiled and said, "Yes, that alone turned a shepherd into a wealthy moneylender, the man standing before you. Tell me, don't you pay the cloth maker for your clothes, the footwear maker for your footwear, and others for their work? But how much of your own earnings have you saved for yourself in the past month, or even in the past year?" I was silent. He continued, "You are foolish, Arkad. You pay everyone but yourself. Remember, every gold coin you save is like a slave that works for you to generate more wealth. If you want to be rich, you must make your savings work for you, and those earnings should also create more income. Take this advice seriously. It is more valuable than the payment for your work. You must set aside at least 10% of your earnings and keep it separate." I started following Algamish's advice and saved 1/10 of my earnings. Surprisingly, it was not difficult. I adjusted my expenses. A year later, Algamish returned and asked about my savings. I proudly told him that I'd given my savings to a friend who was traveling by sea to buy expensive jewelry at a low price, which we planned to sell in Babylon for a profit. Algamish asked, "Is your friend an expert in the jewelry business?" I replied, "No, he is a bricklayer." Hearing this, Algamish was furious. He said, "You made a big mistake. How can you trust a bricklayer to know about valuable gems? Would you ask a baker about the stars? No. You would go to an astrologer. If you had any wisdom, you would have given this job to a jeweler or a goldsmith." Unfortunately, Algamish was right. My friend returned from his journey with fake jewelry, and we lost all our money. But I didn't give up. I started saving again. Another year passed, and Algamish visited me again. This time, I had invested my savings wisely. I had given my money to a shield maker, who used it to craft shields and paid me a share of the profits every few months. Algamish was pleased but asked me how I was using these profits. I proudly said, "I buy fine clothes and other luxurious things." He laughed and said, "You are cutting down your tree before it can grow. If you do this, you will end up where you started. You are spending the children of your savings. Instead, you must reinvest your profits so that your wealth continues to grow. A time will come when you can spend freely without reducing your fortune, but that time is not now." I followed his advice and continued reinvesting my earnings. 2 years later, Algamish returned and asked about my business. I told him, "I am not yet making as much as I desire, but my investments are generating income, and their returns are also producing more wealth." Seeing my progress, Algamish made me his business partner. And today, as you know, I have become the richest man in Babylon. This is only part of the detailed summary of the Richest Man in Babylon book. To watch the full video, click here.